Lady Charmaine, and my guest today is the wife of the late comedian actor Bernie Mac. And she's here today to talk about the TV One's Unsung, the story of Bernie Mac. Help me welcome Miss Rhonda McCollough to the show. Welcome to the show, Rhonda.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello.
Now, I just want to say congratulations on your husband's episode, because I love watching TV One, because one thing it does for me, it really educates me on some of my favorite singers and my favorite actors. Were you surprised when you received the call that they wanted to do a story on your husband?
I sure was. I was very surprised. You know, and when they kept calling, you get out. I was like, I love Unsung. So I was on board then.
Miss Rhonda, your phone was kind of breaking up a little bit, so I missed what you were saying. Can you repeat that again?
Oh, okay. I said at first, you know, when they were contacting me, it was like, I don't know. And then when I called her back and she told me she was from TV One Unsung, I was like, oh my gosh, I love Unsung. Yes. So I was very excited then.
So I'm so glad you said yes. Now, you and your husband have a wonderful love story. I kind of read about you a little bit, but the audience may not know about your story. So can you tell us how you and Bernie met, and what was it about Bernie that you really liked that attracted you to him?
Well, we met in high school, and it was like in 1970. I want to say like towards the end of 74, early 75, the winter of 75. And I remember in high school, I didn't really like him. I really didn't like him. I used to see him in the hallway, and I was like, nah. But I do remember all the girls in school, they were crazy about him. And I kept saying, what is it about him that they like? And when I finally got to meet him and sit down and talk with him myself, I found out he was a very nice person. Great sense of humor, very charismatic, very charming. And I was like, now I see what people like about him. So that is how we started, because it started off, I didn't like him.
And you guys have been together ever since. So you've seen the beginning of your husband's career. So like I said, you were like from high school. Why did he want to become a comedian, and why did he choose this profession as a career?
Well, even in high school, he always wanted to be a comedian. And I tell you, he was always funny, had everyone laughing, and he joked all the time. And I remember he told me the reason he wanted to be a comedian was because one day he saw his mom crying. She was crying about something, he said. He didn't know what it was. He was a young boy. And he said next thing he knew, his mother had started laughing. And he said it was the Ed Sullivan show on, and Bill Cosby was the guest. And he said, and after that, his mother tears dried up, and she just started laughing. And he said from that minute on, he said that's what he wanted to do, make people laugh.
Oh, what a great story. And how long were you and Bernie married?
30 years.
30 years. Wow. So what was some of the struggles? Because, you know, trying to break into the industry, what was some of the struggles that you seen him go through in the early years to make it in this career?
Oh, my goodness. Lots of struggle, because you don't get the recognition. You don't get the time to perform. You don't, you go out there and perform, and really you don't make a lot of money doing that. Like, you go in for stand-up, like at those comedy clubs, and he used to bring home maybe $25 or $50 a night. And that really is not any money, to take care of family. So it made it very difficult, and I told him, I said, oh, no, you need a full-time job. You just can't do that. You have to do that on the side.
And you just segued into my next
take care of the family.
And that was my next question for you.
No. And he was just determined, because every night he would come in, and then he would go to the club, get in late, then have to get up and go to his job. And I remember he was working at Wonder Bread. And he hated that job. He really did, delivering the bread and stuff. And I remember he came home one day. He said, Rhonda, I can really do this. I can do this. I can make this happen. And at that point, because this had been years, and at that point I said, you know what? You go ahead and do what you got to do, because I didn't want to be the one that stopped his dream. Because, you look back on it, and if I never was in his corner, he'd look back and say, "Look what you made me miss out on," you know. So I always wanted to be there in his corner, and I told him, "Well, I'll do what I have to do." And I think at that time, I was working as a nurse at a state facility, and then I went and got another part-time job, and I told him, "I'll do this, you know, to keep the family going until you get yourself together." And I didn't have to work that second job very long because he surely did. He did. He said he could do it, and he did it.
Because that was my next question for you. What was it like for you as a wife seeing him go through and not having enough food to put on the table? And you answered my question. That was so funny. But that was great. So how long did it take from when you went and got that second job to when he got that big break? Was it like a couple months, couple years?
Well, let's see. Well, you know what? Our struggle was long and hard. So we had been married, I think, 12 years before any of the success has come along. So we struggled for many, many years. But after I got that second job, I think I didn't work in no longer than, I'm going to say about 4 months.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. He said I could quit. I left because it was hard enough to do the full-time job.
I know that's right.
And then to have another part-time job. So it didn't take long after that. And I think after that, it just skyrocketed. No looking back. I always tell people it was just a blessing from God the way it came.
Amen.
It just came in like a floodgate.
So what was that big break?
I knew it was a blessing from God.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
What was that big break that he got?
The big break that he got was he won this big contest here in Chicago. They used to do it all the time, and it was called the Miller Lite Comedy Contest. And he went through the final. You know, he went through the beginning of it. He went through the finals, and he finally won that. And I remember Damon Wayans was one of the judges. And after he and everyone else performed, I just knew in my heart, I said, he got this. He won this. And sure enough, he won. And it was like $3,000, girl, and you would have thought we hit the lottery when he won it. And after that, calls just started coming in. People were asking him to open up. I remember he got a call from Barry White. He got a call from Phyllis Hyman. He was getting calls from everybody. He come and open up. And then I remember Def Jam called him, and it just took off from there.
Wow, what a story. And then now we see him as one of the kings of comedy. So that really opened more doors. And then the television show. How did the television show come about, and even the storyline for the show? The television show came about. Have you ever seen the original Kings of Comedy? Yes. Several times.
Okay, so, like towards the end when they're all outside playing basketball, talking, they talk. All of them had TV shows except for Bernie. And he used to always say, "Oh, they're afraid of me. That's why they won't give me no TV show." He said, "They all got TV show, and they're afraid of me." So I think after the Kings of Comedy tour and the movie and everything, the network contacted him. There was this writer. He wrote a story, and Bernard told him he wanted to stick to as close to his true life as he could. They wrote the story, they pitched it, and Fox picked it up, and that's how it came along.
And as we say, the rest is history.
The rest is history. Yes, indeed.
Wow. So you this was truly a journey towards success that we were all able to see. But I wanted to ask you, Miss Rhonda, can you educate us on your husband's illness? I had never heard of it until his passing. And I'm sure a lot of people probably never heard of it. Even my assistant said she had never heard of it. Do you educate people on what that is and what he had passed from?
Yes, the disease sarcoidosis, it is a autoimmune disease, and also it involves like an abnormal collection of inflammatory cells, which they're called, and they form in nodules in organs. So they can form in like your lungs, your stomach, your brain, your eyes, your skin, and what they do is they cause certain reactions for your immune system, so you're very susceptible to infections. And he was diagnosed with this disease in the late 80s. And I remember when he got diagnosed and the doctor told us what it was, because his first diagnosis, this doctor said he had lung cancer, and he was only 28 years old at the time. And he was just wrecked. He's like, I can't die now, you know. And I said, I don't believe you have lung cancer. Let's get another opinion. So we got a second opinion, and she diagnosed him with the sarcoidosis. And we were like, what? What is that? And she said, well, at this time, we don't know what it is, but all I can tell you is if it doesn't bother you, don't bother it. And for years and years, he lived, you know, with the disease without any complications. And I think as he got older and as his career got more successful and he started traveling back and forth on planes and things, that's when it started to rear his head. And he was always with the cold, bronchitis, you know, infections, things like that. And each time it would just kind of be hard, much more harder for him to come back from. And he would have pneumonia, and then the pneumonia would take him down, and then he'd come back, he bounced back, because he got pneumonia like 3 times, I think. And then the last time before his death, he had pneumonia, and that's what put him in the hospital at that time. He had pneumonia. And also, a lot of the medications that they use for the disease sarcoidosis is not designed for the treatment of sarcoidosis, because it's usually designed for treatment of other diseases like rheumatoid arthritis and other things like that. But they have to see what works for each individual patient. And a lot of times the medication have really bad side effects also, you know. And you just can't, you know, you can't fight it. And like I say, they still don't know much about it. Still a lot of research going on, but it is a little better now than it was back then. And that's what took him out.
Oh, wow. So for you, Miss Rhonda, what do you want your husband's legacy to be, and how will you preserve it?
Well, his legacy is, I want people to know that he loved his family. That was most important to him. And I believe with watching TV Unsung tomorrow, that's what they will see. But the way I preserve his legacy is we have a foundation, which he started it back, I want to say 2 years before he passed away. And it's called the Bernie Mac Foundation for Sarcoidosis. And so what we do is, our mission is to bring awareness to the community of the disease, and also to help raise donations so that we can help fund research for the disease. And that's what I'm doing.
That is wonderful. Thank you. You know, because like I said, I didn't know a whole lot about it. Thank you so much for, you know, carrying on that legacy and educating so many of us, you know, on that and helping to raise money. Is there a website that people can actually go and donate? Do you have a website?
Yes, we do. It's www.berniemacfoundation.org, and you could go on there and donate. And also we have we're on Facebook and Twitter. I'm not sure how Twitter works, but I have someone that does that. But we are on Facebook now. I know how to do that. And also, what was I getting ready to say? See, I'm getting older. I done lost my train of thought. Oh, my goodness. That's okay. That's a menopause break right there.
Had to pause for the calls.
Yeah. I lost my thought. But, yeah, that's what we're doing. And I wanted to say, here in Chicago, we partner with the University of Illinois Chicago Health Science System Hospital. And we have a clinic in Bernie's name. It's called the Bernie Mac Star Clinic. And it's there for patients with sarcoidosis and other lung diseases and other autoimmune diseases. And they get treated there. And what I like about it is because if you don't have the insurance, they will still treat you.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
That's a blessing. Well, Rhonda, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with us. Thank you for just,
Oh, you're so welcome.
And preserving his legacy. And
I enjoy talking with you, lady. I enjoyed talking with you, Lady Charmaine.
Same here. And I want to remind the audience to make sure that you tune in to TV One's Unsung, airing Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And look out for the story of our beloved Bernie Mac. Again, thank you so much, Miss Rhonda, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Lady Charmaine live, all right.